Hey everyone, I'm Alyssa, an Indianapolis Colts cheerleader for the 2024 season, and this is Believe in Colts.
Welcome back to Believe in Colts. I'm Lawrence Owen, and we're back. All right. I know I've been gone for like 6 months. I've had some serious stuff going on in my life. I had to take a sabbatical, but I am back. We're going to get some videos out on a consistent basis. We're going to be talking about the Indianapolis Colts, but on this video specifically, I want to discuss my initial thoughts of the Colts roster heading into training camp. Now, it's just going to be me. I'm going to get a hold of Donald and we'll discuss about getting us together and discussing other videos. We're going to break down position by position. We're going to do a bunch of different stuff. Right now, it's just my initial thoughts. After the draft, after free agency, all that's happened with Anthony Richardson and just the situation that we've got going on heading into training camp, I think we need to discuss this. And where are we at? Where are we sitting? Are we have high expectations, low expectations? Are we upset? Obviously the passing of Jim Irsay and taking over by his daughters. This whole situation. First off, I want to say, and I need to make this very, very clear. Jim Irsay meant a lot to the team, the organization, the city, the community, everything. The man, was he a saint? No. Okay? No, he was human. He had his problems just like everybody else, right? But at the same time, he did a lot for his community. He was like family to people who worked for him, who played for him, who was just around him on a consistent basis. The guy was a really, really good guy. He is going to be missed terribly. I'm personally, I'm going to miss a lot of the things that he would say before, after games, Pacers games. I mean, he supported everything and everyone that had to do with the city or the state. All right, and he's done a lot of good. All right, and he will be missed terribly. Now, with that being said, let's get into a little bit about what my thought processes are about this Indianapolis Colts. Now, in just vague offensive, defensive, let's go defensively. I expect a huge boost on defense. Okay? Yeah, we had like 3 guys in the top 10 in tackles in the NFL last year. But that was because they couldn't get third down stops. They were giving up too many first downs, right? Because of missed tackles and things of that nature. Because they led the league in missed tackles. Missed tackle percentage was stupid off the charts. And I think, and me personally, I think there was a huge addition from subtraction with the not re-signing of E.J. Speed. And, of course, him going to a divisional rival. That, of course, is something that we could talk about at a later date. I'd love to talk about that with Donald later. I think Franklin now, he'll be able to kind of more focus in on what's important. Not worry about what other people are saying on social media. Think more about what the guys in the locker room are saying, and make sure that he is able to just laser focus on his job. All right, because yes, it's a game and they play a game, but they get paid for it. That's their job. That's what they do, and he needs to be the best that he could be. And I have no doubt that that's what he is going to be focused on heading into the 2025 season. The additions, we haven't seen this from Chris Ballard, right? We had a trade for DeForest Buckner. We had a signing here and there, a signing Stephon Gilmore, which, obviously everybody loved the Stephon Gilmore signing. Love to sign him again, but I don't know if he'll be a starter. That's the thing, right? Because, we got some guys on our defense right now. Right? Between Ward and, other guys that are on our team that is exciting to watch. Bynum is a very exciting safety. I can't wait to watch what some of these guys can do. Nick Cross is the box safety. Bynum's that guy that's going to sit back. I was so mad last year with our safety group because it wasn't the box safety's problem. It was that guy, that floater over the top, right? The guy that's like, nothing can get past me. That's my job. And yet it kept happening. Whoever was sitting at single high, they were sitting there letting things get past them. They are the last line of defense. Bynum understands that, and he will improve that part of the secondary and not allow all these big plays that we saw last year. Okay. And then, of course, you're going to defensive line, I think, is better just from another year, considering I feel like our defensive line is already pretty good. Okay, I know that they took a step back from the year prior, but that's okay. That's okay. Look, Grover Stewart, DeForest Buckner, still monsters in the middle. Monsters in the middle. I still like Kwity Paye on the outside. People say he don't get enough sacks, but he's a good run stopper as well. And if you can get 9 sacks a season out of somebody, and still be a really good run stopper on that side, way worth it. Way worth it. Okay? Leatu Latu, everybody knows how big I was with that one. I feel like this could be seriously a really good breakout year. And then let's welcome back Samson Ebukam, who led the team in sacks the year prior. Okay? You get a multi-sack, a double-digit sack guy back, maybe. All right? We have depth on the D-line. Everybody should be playing really good snap percentage, and we should be doing a lot better. All right? I feel like the defense should be better as a whole, flat out, just from the additions and guys getting back from injury, and then another year of experience, and addition from subtract. The defense should be better. I feel like they should be top 10, top 15 in every single positive category. Okay? And no, bottom 15 and other things, right? You also got to remember, we got to do defensive coordinator, all right? And this is a defensive coordinator that plays differently than what we're used to, all right? He calls things differently. He'll do in-game adjustments. He likes to play a lot of more man-to-man. And I like this. I like a guy who will adjust his defense to the team that he's playing against, rather than let's just do my defense and play it as well as possible and be really, really good at that. Which I can see the appeal to that. But at the same time, you go against certain teams, you shouldn't have some stupid rookie quarterback come in and throw for 450 yards and a 120 quarterback rating and 5 touchdowns. Okay? That has first time stepped on the field as a professional. It just should not happen. Okay? And that happened quite a bit. And I didn't like that. And hopefully we don't see that under this guy. Let's head over to the offense, because the offense is something else that we need to discuss, and it's important as well. Look, wide receivers, we're set. We're set. I love the fact that Michael Pittman Jr. Yeah, I understand you didn't get what we wanted out of him last year. He was playing with a bad back all year. All right, he should come back and be that 50-50, guy that we saw the year before, where he's just getting his helmet ripped off, during a Ravens game in a super physical fight, still coming down with that 50-50 ball, just looking like a monster. Or, during that San Francisco game a couple of years back, in the rain, just reaches up, grabs it, pulls it down, doesn't fall down, finds his way into the end zone for a touchdown during a freaking monsoon, right? That's what I want to see back from Michael Pittman Jr. Obviously, Josh Downs is that slot guy that we have needed for some time, okay? And he is exciting to watch. He's a little dude, but he's exciting to watch, all right? Pretty darn sure-handed. Leads the teams in drops his first 2 years. But still, also has a lot of targets. And let's be fair. You're in the middle of the field. The ball's zipping at you at AR speeds, right? And you got to worry about guys trying to take your head off in the middle of the field. So I could understand where some of these drops are coming from. And then you got the guy who I called it last year, who, I called, hey, he's going to lead the team in receiving yards. And what'd he do? He went out there and led the team in receiving yards. I said he wasn't going to lead in receptions or touchdowns or nothing like that. But he sure as heck led the team in yardage. And Alec Pierce could quite very well do that again this year. He is a stud at taking off the top. And people say, well, he can't run a route. All he can do is do that. No, you ain't watching any film, okay? Dude runs routes. The problem is he runs the deep routes. He takes the top off so damn well for it to open up routes for other guys on the field that they just run it constantly, okay? I've seen him run really good medium and short routes. Really good ones. And get first down catches from it. So let's just, we'll discuss that later, okay? And then, of course, if A.D. Mitchell, oh, there I got a little kitten that wants to come in here and say hi. Excuse me. And then, of course, hopefully A.D. Mitchell will step up and turn into the guy that we were hoping we were going to see last year, but just didn't evolve the way we hoped for, right? Or the way he hoped for. And I know he had high expectations of himself. Just, the transition for wide receivers from, college to the NFL usually takes 2 or 3 years, okay? I mean, it's not like Alec Pierce walked in and, his rookie year and lit things up. I mean, you do have that occasionally. You do, every once in a while, you'll have a Jamar Chase or a Malik Neighbors or a Marvin Harrison Jr. or something like that that'll come in here, or Puka, right? That'll come in and do that. But generally, that don't happen. Generally, it takes 2 or 3 years for a wide receiver to really get their footing under them coming from college to the pros. So I like where our wide receivers are going. I didn't even mention some of the other wide receivers that we have, right? That are depth. But that's okay. That's okay. Look, we still got Laquan Treadwell. All right. Heck yeah. DJ Montgomery's pretty good. Anthony Gould will be decent as a returner and as a backup slot. Ashton Doolin, right? Not shabby if a guy goes down and needs to come in there, but he's also a hell of a special teams man. Look, our wide receivers are good. Tight ends, on the other hand, that's going to be a position I can't wait to watch. All right, look, I said it last year. I thought we had a lot of depth at wide receiver, but we saw too many drops. And I'm going to be fair to some of these. A lot of these passes that went to them were in bad spots. All right. Like at their feet, way over their heads, things of that nature. All right, just not very I don't know what it does with AR, but he saved his worst passes for the tight ends. Okay, and it is a fact. It is a fact. But there was also some straight up drops, and we got to pay attention to that as well. Mo Alley Cox is back. Will he make the team again this year? I don't know. I feel like we're pretty deep though. Everybody knows I love Andrew Ogletree. Yes, he had that drop right there at the end zone. That was his only drop of the year. But overall, he's a really good blocker as well. And he's got the size and speed to make things happen in the passing game. Jelani Woods, obviously, he's coming back from injury. This is by far his last shot with the Colts. Absolute last shot. All right. If he makes the team, I'll be surprised. I'll be honest. Honestly, I'll be surprised. I'm not saying he can't. He absolutely has the skills to do that. He's not a great blocker, though, but he's a really, really good explosive target in the passing game. But he's he's behind, in my opinion, Andrew Ogletree, and he's definitely behind the rookie Tyler Warren that the Indianapolis Colts selected this year, right? So we'll see, and then of course there's Will Mallory, right? Let's not forget about the now third year guy Will Mallory, who is also a guy who is explosive in the passing game. All right, so tight ends, I think that's going to be interesting watch. The offensive line. Let's go to the running backs. Cause look, yeah, we have our guy. We have Jonathan Taylor. I expect him to have another really good season. Averaging around 5 yards a carry, depending upon how the center and right guard position rolls out, because that's very important, obviously, in the running game. But we got, Khalil Herbert and Tyler Goodson. Look, Tyler Goodson had a good season last year. The year before, obviously, that drop that kept us out of the playoffs, that's going to loom over his head for a long time. Maybe his entire career. But, we'll see. DJ Giddens, right? A lot of people think that he could be that full-time backup to Jonathan Taylor. We're going to find out. All right, don't forget, we also got Ulysses Bentley and Salvin Ahmed as well. The offensive line scares me. Obviously, our outside, look, we got Ryman on one end, we got Braden Smith on the other. Hell to the yes, okay? I feel like we got a top 10 duo at tackles. All right. When Ryman is healthy, when Braden Smith is healthy, he's a top 5 right tackle in the NFL. But he's got to be healthy. And that's the problem he's had the last few years, is he's in and out with bad knees. I get it. That's why he's, really been contemplating retirement the last couple years. Ryman, on the other hand, we've just watched him blossom into an absolute gorgeous left tackle in the NFL. All right. The center's going to be an interesting thing to watch for. Obviously, who's going to sit in there? That's going to be a fight to see. We got a lot of guys that could go in that. Obviously, the left guard position, that's taken. I mean, no one's taken that from Big Q, right? But the right guard, obviously, is another position. Look, you can be somewhat weak at center or a guard position. And I'm saying somewhat weak, not real weak. All right? But you can't be at both. Center is very important. Okay? Center is incredibly important in the NFL. Because they're the guy also that looks at the defense and gets the offensive line set up and things of that nature. And reads, finds out where the mic is and looks for the blitzes and things of that nature. He's the start of the protection. The offensive line is so important, right? They don't just protect the quarterback. They open holes for the run game. And if the run game isn't going well, then the pass game ain't going to go well either, because they're not going to respect the pass game if your run game ain't effective. So the offensive line is damn important, especially on the inside. Okay, I understand a lot of people's like, you can't keep spending all this money on the offensive line. I understand that. I get it. That doesn't mean that you can't just quit, though. You need to have talent there. All right? Because if you got the offensive line is only as good as its weakest link. Because this is the NFL, ladies and gentlemen. And these defenses in the NFL, they will find a weak spot, they will find a mismatch, and they will just run at it all day long and just absolutely wreck offensive game plans once they find a weak spot that they can take advantage of. So you got to find a way to at least be adequate. And I think we got the guys to do it. Let's move on to the quarterback position. That's the last thing I'll be talking about real quick, and that's it's going to be difficult. Look, I understand There's a lot of people out there that's given up on Anthony Richardson between two things. One, completion percentage, which, there's a legitimate argument on that. And the fact that he can't stay healthy, the throwing shoulder, all that neat stuff. And, there's a legitimate argument on that. Being picked at number 4. Look, I feel like this has been mishandled a little bit from the jump from the Indianapolis Colts on Anthony Richardson. I understand they picked him at number 4. And how do you sit someone that you pick at number 4? There's someone that should be a guy who can start right away and be a starter right off the bat. Anthony Richardson just was not that guy. He hadn't had the football experience. He had 14 games total, right? He just wasn't that guy. And yet they gave him the reins to the team. And it shows. Now, have I given up on AR? No. No, I haven't. But he's got this training camp to really show what he's going. And hopefully he is ready to go day one. There's rumors out there saying he is. There's some people saying maybe not. Hopefully he is. I can't wait to go out there and check it and see it myself. And then there's Daniel Jones. There's some legitimate question marks on him too. He had a bad season last year. I get that. Granted, the Giants basically stripped him of everything that was important. And he never had a good offensive line. He's bottom 5 offensive line in the NFL every year he's been in the NFL. Last year they took away his best weapon, right, in Saquon. Didn't take him away, just didn't sign him. And went to a division rival, and you've seen what happened there. Well, look, there's a reason why they paid him $40 million, 2 years ago. Or 2 or 3 years ago, whatever it was. There's a reason. The guy he's actually pretty accurate. When he's got guys to throw and time to sit there and look. Yeah, he can get a little antsy when he's under pressure on a consistent basis, but I think that's any quarterback in the NFL. Just about any quarterback in the NFL. I think Daniel Jones has just as much of a chance to take the starting job as AR does. Anyone saying, well, Daniel Jones has a huge lead over AR because he's had this entire offseason. It's been, 3 days of, this and 2 days of that. There is no huge leap. AR's had a few years of working with the team. All right, he can miss 5 days of practice before training camp and not have to worry about losing ground. All right, as long as he's good day one of training camp, I think we're good. I think they're, really that set up for Daniel Jones walking in, having the starting reps, during OTAs and stuff, actually kind of put Daniel more on an even ground with AR. And they didn't, because he started off in a hole because he didn't know the team or the offensive philosophy or, the books or, the timing with the receivers and the snaps of the centers and handing it off to the running, that kind of, all that stuff. He had to work on that. So I feel like those few days of practice with the team before training camp really is more helping Daniel get to even ground. It's not giving him some big, massive head start over him like some of these people out here are saying. I think that's just a load of crap, okay? But either way, both these guys, they got to come out and they got to play good football. May the best man win, okay? I don't care who wins. I hope both of them ball the hell out and it makes it an incredibly tough decision. People want to say, well, splitting reps 50-50 is just hurting whoever. You got to name a guy right off the bat. That's BS too. It's not full BS. I get it. But competition breeds excellence. You need that competition. All right? In every position, unless you are an consistent first team all-pro year after year after year, You need that competition to help you get better and grow so that you don't get complacent. All right? AR was given the reins. Even last year with Flacco, they knew he was the starter. There was complacency. He tried. I'm not saying he wasn't. He was out there, lagging or whatever. He's going to try harder now this year than what he did last year because his starting position is up for grabs, and he knows it. And he's going to be training harder during the off, when he's not in, when he is in, when he's at home, he's going to be watching film. He's going to be outside throwing the football with, guys, whether he's, whatever. He's going to be doing everything he can to become a better player. And I feel like Daniel Jones is that guy that will also do that. So, either way, I feel like this is a game, this is a team right now that things are looking up. Even though they went through so much crap last year and this offseason, I think it's looking up. All right. And I'm going to give the new owners a little bit of leeway. All right. I'm not going to give them any kind of crap. I think they deserve a little bit of space to find their footing. And I'm not going to give any kind of judgment on them this entire year. No judgment. No judgment. Okay? Even if they come out and say something that I feel like is utterly stupid, I'm not going to give them judgment. I don't feel like they're going to do something like that, but I feel like when you're thrust into a position like they are, you need time to get your feet wet. You're going to make mistakes. It's going to happen. All right? Expect it. But also expect them to learn. All right? And that's what we're going to find out, if they can learn from the mistakes, learn from their experiences, and grow as owners. All right. I think that's all I'm going to do for this episode. Hopefully, we'll catch you later on this week. Don't forget, please smash that like button. Hit subscribe if you're not subscribed. Tag that notification bell so that you are notified next time we go live or upload a video. And if you're listening to this to an audio podcast, please rate it, leave a comment. Huge help. Till next time, go Colts.
Do you believe?